Cloud computing. In some system architectures, the data processing is done in a large centralized fashion on a cloud. Now, what is it? Is an on-demand availability of a computer system resources, especially data storage and the computing power, without direct active management by the user. The term is generally used to describe the data centers available to many users over the internet. Now, where this cloud computing is used, I can do only the things which doesn't require any immediate action. In the sense, it the information is need not to be an immediate information to be catched up to the another level. In the sense, if some delay occurs, then there will be no problem. Then only in that case, I'll go for the cloud computing. Other case, for immediate action, if I require, then I'll immediately go to the fog computing. Only for the delay in information, that means I don't need any immediate action, then only I go for the cloud computing. Cloud centric architecture keeps the cloud at the center, applications above it, and network of things below it. Then this is the fog computing. These layers are comes under the fog architecture. Fog architecture presents a layered approach which inserts monitoring, processing, storage, and layers between the physical and transport layer. You can go in the detail one by one what is what. A transport layer which uploads the pre-processed and secure data to the cloud, and a security layer is duty is to encryption or decryption, privacy and integrity measures. In the temporary storage layer, the duty of this layer is data distribution, replication and deduplication, and also storage space virtualization and storage devices. And then pre-processing layer, it works for data analysis and data filtering, reconstruction and trimming. And then monitoring layer, activities monitoring, power monitoring, resource monitoring, response monitoring and service monitoring. And then physical and virtualization layer, virtual sensors and virtual sensor networks, things and physical sensors, wireless sensors works. All these layers comes in the fog architecture. Then fog computing presents a layer approach. These are the layers in that, and monitoring and pre-processing are done on the edge of the network before sending the data to the cloud. Let's say I'm in a system where I immediately respond to something, then in those cases I can go with my fog computing, not with the cloud computing. This is what the clarity I can give for you. And then moving on to the next very interesting part, IoT taxonomy. IoT taxonomy is something interesting that these layers plays a major role in the Internet of Things IoT. First is perception layer. What is perception layer? It collects the data using various types of sensors. We already know that the sensor plays a major role in the Internet of Things. And then pre-processing layer, it filters and summarizes the data before sending it to the network. And then communication layer, different entities communicate over network using different protocols and standards. And then it's a very important layer also. Then middleware layer is also essential. It creates abstractions such as hiding hardware details. And then the last and foremost but important layer is here various applications that improves user experience and increases the efficiency. It's a main part in the taxonomy. We'll just go for one by one in detail to get more clarity. In the slide you can see that there are different types of sensors are available in the perception layer. Before talking about it, let's know something, that one of the most important aspects of IoT is context awareness, right? So what you need to understand is that with respect to change of the environment is very important. It's extremely impossible without the sensors. That's why perception layer is totally contains the sensors. As you already know that the sensor is a cost, it's a cheap, and then not cheap but cost less and consumes little power, and then it's a small in size. Various types of sensors are these: environmental sensors, medical sensors, infrared sensors, mobile sensors, neural sensors, RFID. We'll get into one by one. We already know that environmental sensors are which detects the temperature, humidity, and pressure in the environment. And then medical sensors used in the healthcare purpose for heart patients like that, and infrared sensors, the X-rays like that. And familiar to all of us is the mobile sensors. In our mobile, nearly 10 types of sensors are available based on your mobile, but maximum of the mobiles, many sensors are available. Magnetometer nowadays in the touchscreen mobiles, location sensors, movement sensors, camera, microphone, light sensors. These are all the small sensors which are embedded in your mobile. And then neural sensors, and then RFID. RFID stands for radio frequency identification. This is quite interesting and important. It stands for, unlike a barcode, it doesn't actually require a line of sight of communication between the tags and the reader, and can identify itself from a distance without even human intervention or human interaction. RFID is naturally of two types. Whether will not go into depth of that. These are the types of sensors which are embedded in the perception layer. And there is also actuators which plays a major role in the perception layer. It actually a device which can affect a change in the environment by converting a sort of energy into another energy. This could be a motor generates electricity, or this could be a windmill which converting the wind outside to you of electric form as well. These are some of the just examples that I am giving for the actuators. I'm not going with the detailed information of the actuators. And then pre-processing layer. Pre-processing layer plays a major role. Here you have, these are the limitations of the pre-processing layer: mobility, reliability, and real-time actuation, scalability. These three are the limitations of the pre-processing layer. Mobility. Smart devices are mobiles, and changing network conditions make communication difficult. In the sense, let's say my sensors are which are constant in motion, then it becomes a really difficult for me to pass the information continuously to my cloud system, right? So there should be a fast thing which can connect the information on the real time, right? So this in turn actually causes a challenge for me to have latency also. So when this if I want to use a lot of devices, then my cloud computing system also needs to scale, but there is always a chance to increase the latency because I am working with a multiple sensors and multiple devices. In a small scale system, it's about 22,000 sensors associated with it. Imagine if I am building a smart city. In that case, I'm going to use hundreds and thousands and millions of sensors are required. In my cloud computing system can't process this. There is going to be a high challenge. Here the usage of smart gateways comes into the picture, where it helps in the fast sharing the information, not like cloud and fog like that. And then smart gateways, I'm not going into the depth of the smart gateways, I'll just show how it looks. There's a lot of construct of small cities, then I'll go for the smart gateways, but rather than cloud or fog like that, I'll go with the smart gateways. And then the most important aspect here comes, that is the communication layer. Communication layer has different parts I have divided in. This is wireless sensors network, internet protocol, smart objectives, and near field communication, low power technologies, RFID and WSN integration. This is what something interesting again. What is that? Communication challenges which needs to be addressed. Addressing and identification, in the sense each smart device needs to be identified with unique address in the network, right? Otherwise, if there is no proper identification for each and everything, then IoT system is complete a failure system. That means communication layer plays a major role in the Internet of Things. I'm just saying that. Then low power consumption. Communication between the devices needs to be low power consuming, of course. And then routing protocol with a low memory requirement and efficient communication protocol. And then high speed and lossless consumption. These are the uses of the communication layer. You can see here I have low power in the low power technologies I have given the Bluetooth, low energy, and low power Wi-Fi, and ZigBee. All these are communication layer based. And then here internet protocol for smart objectives, which comes for the low power link layer and adaptation layer, and the routing protocol, application protocol. These are the things under the internet protocol for smart objectives.